Can you do it all? Can you have the kids? Can you have the career? Can you have the thriving marriage and social life? Can you have six-pack abs? Well, today we're going to answer that question, because isn't it something that we've all asked ourselves at one point or another? So if this is you, make sure you keep watching. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Julie. I'm an occupational therapist. I hold a doctorate in occupational therapy, and I coach moms to go from feeling overwhelmed and frazzled and like they definitely can't have it all, to feeling a lot more calm and confident in their decisions, their life, their relationships with their children, so that they can truly thrive as moms and enjoy their kids' childhood and be the best parent that they can possibly be. Please consider subscribing to this channel. I talk all about parenting, and I really like to go deep on here. I use my OT background knowledge, my own personal mindset and exploration, and then my experience as a mom of 3 kids, 7 and under, doing it all every day alongside you guys. And I bring all of that together on this channel, so I would love to have you as a viewer. Please consider liking and click that little notification bell. I also want to let you know that I have a weekly podcast. It is called the Confident Parenting Podcast with Dr. Julie Fernandes, and I really go deep into kind of real life topics that are happening for me, challenges that come up for me. I use that as a place of inspiration where I can talk about things that I'm personally dealing with and find the lessons in there to help you. But I also talk about very useful topics in there, like what to put on your baby registry, what not to, what to feed your kids, how to travel with kids. I have a lot of content on traveling with children because I do that a lot. And I also have a weekly newsletter jam-packed with value, jam-packed with ideas and products and parent tips and all good things. So make sure you check those out in the description box. And with that big mouthful said, let's jump into the video and try and answer the question, can you have it all? So just a little bit of a background. As I told you, I'm an occupational therapist, and I have worked full-time with kids and without kids. I have worked part-time. I have done the whole corporate America thing. I have worked from home. That's kind of what I do now. I've also taken breaks, more like maternity leave, so I was always going back to work, never really not ever worked. And so I've done a whole bunch of different things in my quest to figure out what my balance is when it comes to doing it all, because for everybody it is really different. And at the end of the day, when you know your values, and what I mean by that, it's things like what are your high values, and do they change over time? Family, health, relationships, freedom, travel, those are things that are considered values. When you know those, it can really help steer the ship as to how you want to structure your lifestyle. Now, I'm also fully aware that not everybody, even if they want to stay home with their kids and that's their desire, that's a high value for them, can do that. We're all at different phases and stages. And I really identified that I wanted to work around my children's childhood, essentially. I identified that probably before I had kids even, but it took me many years to get to that point where I finally, cut the cord of the safety and security net of a corporate job and decided to go out on my own. It took me a long time. So if you're struggling to navigate what is right for you, know that it's not overnight, and it's not even once you decide what you want, what your version of doing it all is, it's not even always possible to do it immediately. It does really take time. So I just wanted to put that out there. So now, as a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom of 3 little kids, with really just my husband and I, holding up the fort and looking after them day to day. At the moment, we don't really have any extra help, and I don't say that to brag. It's just the circumstances for right now. That may change. Our kids do go to school, older too, so I have the baby with me all the time. But things change and evolve over time. But with that being said, I wanted to explain how I kind of do it all and how I weave all these things that are important to me, my health, my social life, being present for my children, my career, where I want to take everything that I'm doing, how I weave all that into kind of my daily life and sort of the principles that I live by. And that's really what this video is all about. So I spoke about priorities and really knowing what those are. It's taken me a long time to really solidify them, but I want to go through some of them with you and just explain how I have structured my life at this stage when my kids are very young. I'm sure it'll change and evolve over time, but let's get into it. So working out and staying healthy. I've actually put this probably on top of the list, although all of these things are priorities for me. But I can't function as a human being in the way that I want to if this vessel is not optimally working, right? So prioritizing my health and my mental health is really, really important to me, and there's certain things that have to happen in order for me to do that. I plan to do a video all about health and my health journey, as cheesy as that is. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments down below. But I have done a podcast on it, so we can put that podcast episode in the description. You can go ahead and listen to it on ways that I've up-leveled my physical health, and that might help you, give you some ideas of how you can integrate some of those things into your life to give you more energy, to help you sleep better, to help you really maximize the time that you have, because as moms, we're all time poor, so every minute counts. Something else that is a priority for me right now is my children and their education. So, my kids have now lived through 2-3 years of COVID, and particularly the first year of COVID, their schooling was very interrupted, and I want to be able to be present with them with schooling as they get older. So when they're little, it's not as important, but as they get into higher grades, I want to make sure that they are able to cope and that they didn't miss out too much, missing certain years of school because of COVID. And so that's a priority for me, making time every day to read with them, write with them, just interact with them, but not doing hours and hours of academic schoolwork, but really just being present and acknowledging their work. And if we do anything extra, really paying attention. I've noticed that it makes a huge difference to my kids' self-esteem and school performance and just general happiness. And so that's something that I heavily prioritize and falls into my family bucket, the thing that I'm really focused on during these years. I prioritize cooking healthy and simple meals. And when I say simple, I mean really simple. We're talking carb, protein, and something green, whatever that might be for you. Here's the thing, I feel like as moms we put so much pressure on ourselves to put these beautiful, diverse recipes on the table. Oftentimes our kids don't even want to eat them, and it's like a whole big battle around food. And for me, the compromise is that I'd rather we eat a similar combination of the same kind of things that they like on rotation at least once a week. Maybe we can, change it up a little bit here and there, but at least I know that they're getting a home cooked meal basically from scratch. I'm not making the pasta from scratch and I'm not making the sauce from scratch, but I'm being really intentional about what I'm buying. I think that's better than buying takeout or going out to restaurants all the time, or even eating frozen meals that are packed with sodium and oils and things that you have no control over. So for me, I'm at this stage of life happy to serve them up very similar food every day. We can get diversity when we go to grandma's house, which admittedly is not that often, but they will get it when they go to other people's homes and when we eat out and that kind of thing. So for right now, getting nourishing, nutrient dense meals, maybe they're not the most diverse, but they are healthy and help them grow. We talk a lot about that. I've done a lot of videos on this kind of thing, so I'll link that food video up above on how you get your toddler to eat. But that is something that I'm very focused on, and that also goes into my family bucket. Making time to have fun with my children. This is something when I really reflected that I felt like I was not paying enough attention to. So as I mentioned, there's 3 little kids and just my husband and I, and time is precious, and it is even more challenging to have time with each of them individually. So I stay at home with my youngest one all day long, so she gets a lot of my one-to-one time, which is really incredible. In fact, she's the child that's had the most one-to-one parent time compared to the other ones. So for the other ones, I really, really want to pour into them mom and dad, only time, because I really think it helps them behave better, and it's really nourishing for me as a parent. They're only going to be this small for a very short period of time, and soon they're not going to want to hang out with me in this way. So I really want to, enjoy this time with them. And I'm someone, if you can't tell, you might not be able to tell, but if you follow me on Instagram or you know me personally, I'm like a busy gal. Like, I can't sit still. I struggle to relax. And even when my kids are here, you know, they play independently, you know, fairly well. But they will ask me to help them or draw with them or participate or that kind of stuff. And I find myself, you know, not wanting to, because I just want to finish the dishes and I just want to fold the laundry and I just need to do this one thing and I need to email this person. And that's just my personality. And it's something that I have to fight with, to really put my phone away, to put down the chores, to go and just spend a little bit of time. And so what I do find myself saying is, I'm going to finish folding the laundry, because I do think it's important that they see that a lot of work goes into running a house and keeping it at a certain level. And then I'm going to come and play with you for 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. When we have the opportunities to bond with them one-to-one, I really try and maximize that. So if one child wakes up earlier than the rest, or one goes to bed a little bit later, you know, I used to be so stressed about having them in bed at 6:30 or 7 or something like that. And that was partly because I had no time for myself, and that's perfectly valid. But now I notice if one stays up a little later, you know, one is older than another one, I try and use that time to just hang out and do things. And it's really enjoyable, it's really fun, and I highly encourage you to do it, especially because I have a middle child, and you know, we all know how that goes. I don't want her to feel different or act out because she's a little child. I'm determined not to have that be her experience. And I think by pouring into her and doing things that she really wants to do, have it be child-led, is really, really one of my priorities right now. Now, you will find as you get into school-age children, some of you here watching might only have really young children or babies, but you'll find as they get older that the extracurriculars, the after-school stuff, really, really starts to add up. And what happens is that you have no more time left in the day to do anything else. And I think it's really, really important that children are allowed to play and really have nothing on the agenda. So on weekends, we don't have anything planned. We spent many years doing like swimming lessons every Saturday. And to me, that's a little different because swimming is really, really important. It's literally life and death. We do have friends and family that have pools, and I don't want to be worried about my children. It's really important that they can swim. For me, that was worth it. And it was early in the morning and we got it over with and we had the rest of our day to do whatever we wanted. But now as they're getting a bit older, I try and have nothing too much, nothing regular planned. Like anything that we decide to do on the weekends, it's because we want to. We have the time and we feel like it, and so we go and do it. But I think having boundaries around extracurriculars is important. My kids go to school for what I feel like is quite a long part of their day, and if they have something booked every single day after school, there's no time for them to play. There's a lot less time for them to connect with us, and so I really am very sort of strict about how many things we sign up for. Also, I'm only one person. I can only take them to one place at one time, and I have found myself in situations where both need to go to a different place at a different time at the same time, and it's basically impossible. So from that perspective, this is how I prioritize that. This video is so long already. So as far as my kids are concerned, this is my mom life. This is what I prioritize, and then the hours that are left in the day, I use that for other things. I didn't even get into how I prioritize my marriage or my social life, and if that's something that you want to know more about, let me know in the comments and I can make a video about that. But essentially, there are 4 categories that I feel like we all kind of have to look into, and we all do them at different times. You know, relationships, health, work, and family. And because I'm in this young child stage, really my family is a huge one. I'm working on my health because if I don't have health, I have nothing. And then I have my primary relationship with my husband, and I try my best to have a social life as well. We try and go out, we try and have date nights, perhaps not enough, but we try as much as we can. And when we can combine 2 things together, 2 birds with 1 stone, that's what we're doing right now. So does that mean walking the hills with the baby in the stroller, trying to get some exercise? Sometimes it does. Does that mean going on play dates with other friends that have kids so that our kids can play and we can hang out? Oftentimes that's how we socialize these days, and that's just kind of how we keep all 4 fires burning. Let me know how you prioritize your day and how you get things done as a busy mom. I mean, whether you work or not, you probably have very little time to yourself. So I would love to know anything that you have to share. Remember to subscribe, comment, like this video, click your notification bell. And I know life can get challenging. We're doing it together. Know that you can do this, and I will see you in my next video.